Ask Reddit.
Job interviewers of Reddit, what was the weirdest or most inappropriate thing a candidate has ever said to you in an interview? When I informed a prospective employee during the second interview that we do a complete background investigation and we can't have a discrepancy between what he listed on his application and the investigation, he asked if he could reapply using a different name and social security number. I accidentally give the wrong name and social security number all the time. No big deal. It was just a prank, bro. Bro, calm down. Bro, look at the camera. There's a camera. It's a prank. Does this company have a big dick? Do you have a big dick, Mr. Pensing Poundcake? I'm assuming he meant metaphorically, but I just couldn't come up with anything to say. If you were as big as me, you would have answered immediately. Kidding. No. The answer is far easier to find than his dick. Someone really asked you if the company had a big dick. Why is this not the top comment? What the fuck was that guy thinking? The people of Reddit have spoken. This comment is not equal to all those placed higher. Well, the people of Reddit are wrong. That is by far the most bizarre thing I've ever heard of in an interview situation. I'm assuming your company doesn't test for sobriety or common sense before interview. They should. That is fucking excellent. Edit. Scrap that, they shouldn't. How else would you get answers like this? I just remembered this story, which was weird, but not in a bad way. I was interviewing for an Arkansas position and was quite busy one day. My assistant told me an applicant was waiting and I totally forgot about her for 5 hours. She never went up to the counter and inquired, she just patiently waited. The only reason I was told she was still there is that it was time for the staff to go home and there was still someone in the lobby. Not my finest moment. And yes, I did hire her out of guilt and mortification, but luckily she worked out great and stayed for years. With that kind of commitment, I'm not surprised she was a good employee. I'd have been worried that someone would wait 5 hours without saying something. Imagine if the job involved calling customers. Why have you been ringing that number for 5 hours? Oh, they haven't picked up yet. Proof that this is an alternate timeline where Abed is female. On the one hand, the dedication is impressive. On the other, she either didn't realize that she shouldn't have been waiting for 5 hours or wasn't willing to ask anyone about it. Realistically, it was a problem that she could have easily solved by walking to the desk and asking how long it'll be, etc. Happened to me too once. I had to ask the cleaning maid to go to the upper floors to ask if someone will come or not. Was waiting an hour and a half already. Got hired on the spot, lol. Something similar happened to me as the one being interviewed, only I waited 3 hours, not 5. However, my interviewer didn't feel as ashamed as you did, and I didn't get the job. Oh, and I went to the counter and asked the receptionist to tell them I was already there, but she forgot to warn them.
This is not from an interview but from a job application. In the applicable skill sections, he wrote, I have a very acute sense of taste. We are a sawmill. He can tell you tree type just from tasting this sawdust. Pine, within 100 meters of an alligator-infested swamp, has lived about 30 summers. Ooh, so close. It was actually within 150 meters of a crocodile-infested swamp. I'm sorry, but there is another applicant who is better suited for this position. We wish you luck in your future endeavors. Rookie mistake. I'll make sure I'll change that to I have a very acute sense of vision. Since it is a sawmill. Had a very acute sense of vision.
I was interviewing a girl for a job at a family entertainment center a few years back. During the interview she was constantly cussing. At one point, she took the clipboard that a coworker of mine was asking questions from and writing notes on and just started going down the page answering questions. At the end of the interview, she asked when she was starting. Instead of telling her that I was not planning on hiring her, I told her that there were several other candidates that needed to be interviewed and that we would call her with our decision by the end of the week. After the interview, I was told by one of my employees that the girl admitted to being high when she arrived and that she had just smoked weed right before her scheduled interview. Later that evening, I received a phone call from her mother. She informed me that she would be the girl's ride to work and wanted to know when she would have to bring her in for her first day. Mom did not like what I told her about her daughter. What, did she just yank the clipboard out of his hands? That is wild. The other manager doing the interview with me had set the clipboard down on the table for a second. I guess the girl assumed that as soon as it hit the table it was free game. The other manager and I just kinda gave each other the "is this bitch for real?" look. That is awesome. She decided to gain control of the pace of the questions. I'm a recruiter for a certain university, and we do mini interviews when we collect resumes to know what pile to put people in. One guy asked me, I'm not planning on staying at one job very long. What are some of the skills that can teach me that will make me appealing to other companies? Well, I can already teach you how to not fuck up job interviews, but that's pretty much it. Say this while standing up and extended you handshake. I was the interviewee. In this case, the interviewer asked me what are 10 different ways to use a pen that don't involve writing. I was caught totally off guard, and I could only think of that scene in Red Eye where a captive Jodie Foster stabbed the guy in the neck with some kid's pen. So the first thing I said was murder. I still got the job. Murder. And 9 emergency tracheotomies. Explain in detail how you would perform emergency tracheotomies. Number 4, please. Both burst out in laughter. I ask something similar when I interview people. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to name as many uses for a single brick as you can think of. One guy said kill someone as his first, but then followed it up later with, you could use a brick to weigh a body down. Yep, we hired him. Turned out great, he's already been promoted. Not really weird, maybe inappropriate though, and definitely not something you should ask during an interview. Will there be a drug test? For the record, never ask if there will be a drug test. If you're a drug user and want to know the answer to that question, just ask, who pays for the drug test, me or you? I asked this question at my first job when I was 18. To this day I have no idea why I asked. I wasn't on drugs. I was actually pregnant at the time. That seems exactly like something I would do. Kinda like being nervous around cops when you didn't do anything wrong. Am I being detained? No. Do you still want to apply for the job? Not an interview, but something hilarious I saw on a job application. I was working at a grocery chain at the time, and there was a question on the application about which of the chain's locations you preferred to work at. It was followed by another question. Are there any other locations you would be willing to work? This genius wrote yes. Burger King, Walmart, or Hardee's. Funnier actually seeing it in real life than just reading about it, but oh man, we laughed. Oh, how we laughed. But in all seriousness, that is funny.
Not inappropriate per se, but I got one resume that was about 4 pages long and literally listed every life accomplishment that this lady had. Highlights included reading, writing, and arithmetic. Ability to hear and understand simple instruction, brown belt, taekwondo. Good cook. I'm not kidding. So I invited her in for an interview because I was really curious. She showed up 40 minutes late at the wrong building in a completely different town. Edit. Guys, I get it, there's no brown belt in taekwondo. Not my resume.